Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Bomb Mom Podcast. I'm here with my friend today. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Veronica, and you want me to just jump right in?
Yeah, jump right in, girl.
Okay. Well, Alyssa and I met, we were just saying, when we were, 11 years old.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, you were the first person I talked to when I moved to this town.
And you just said that to me before, and I do not remember that. I had to ask if I was mean, because usually that's like people's first impression of me.
You were so nice, and because we moved here, I think it was actually also in February or March. And then we didn't know anybody. So my first interaction was on the school bus.
Mm-hmm.
We got the bus, and then you had to have said something along the lines of like, "Are you new?" or like something, because I was just a complete stranger just boarding a bus. And then that was my first impression of you. It was a nice impression because I always thought you were a nice person after that.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
And like I was just saying before, you lived on the same street as me. And I always like would see you around, and we kind of hung out with the same people that were on the same block, but I never got like close to you.
Yeah.
At that time. I
think we had mutual friends like from that point until high school. So
yeah.
But since high school though, I don't think we actually have seen each other like in person.
No, I don't think so.
Crazy. But like social media keeps you connected with people that like you knew when you were 11. Isn't that crazy?
I know. And then now like catching up with you and all the similarities that we've had in life, it's like kind of crazy because we kind of have like the same storyline.
Yeah, almost. It's very similar. And I don't know about you, but I don't know a lot of people. Oh, well, maybe we should talk about that too. Alyssa and I both had, everybody knows you.
Yeah.
But I also had my daughter when I was in high school.
Uh-huh.
I was 16 when I got pregnant with Olivia. And then I turned 17. Well, I had her July, and then I turned 17 in August. So sometimes I'm like, I was a mom at 16. And it's like, I was like.
But you got pregnant at 16, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. How did you know that you were pregnant?
Oh, God, how did I know? Honestly, I was in such denial that I like made myself believe that I was like really sick. So I told my mom, like, Mom, I've been so sick because like I just did not like, I didn't for a second think that was possible or like that was like happening.
That's not how our brain worked back when we were teenagers.
No, yeah. I was like, I'm so sick. Like, I don't know what's wrong with me. My mom was taking me to a specialist and they couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. And then they sent me to go get an ultrasound done of my stomach because I was like getting sick so much. So they thought I had like something with like acid reflux or something. And then we got a phone call after that ultrasound that wasn't for a baby.
Mm-hmm.
And then my pediatrician told my mother that I was pregnant. And then she's like, you need to come home now. Cause it was after school.
Your mom knew before you knew?
I mean, at some points I had a feeling, but I was like in such denial that like, I didn't believe it. So then, oh no, I'm forgetting a big part of the story. See, mom brain. No. So this was in February when we found out. I was helping my little sister put together her Valentine cards for school. And they called me first because I had a cell phone. They called me first. They said, is this Veronica? And I was like, yeah. Like, who is this? They're like, it's the doctor's office. Something. You're pregnant. I was like, it was a flip phone. So I clapped that shit.
I want to hear that. I was like,
and then I put the phone down. I finished helping my sister. And then I think my mom was like, oh, who called you? I was like, oh, I don't know. It was a wrong number or something. Then the next day she got the call. And then because I was like, I knew not to come. I knew I didn't want to go home after school that day. And I just couldn't remember why. But yeah, no. So I did get the phone call first.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was so funny. Cause then I go home and then my mom's like, I need to leave, but we're going to talk when I get back. And I was like, cool.
Dude, that's so funny because, okay, so like I knew that I was pregnant well, actually, so his dad knew before me. I guess he was kind of picking up on like my mood changes and things like that. And me and my mom, we were kind of like on the same cycle. So I think she said something about like having her period. And then I'm like, like I'm shocked. Like right after she said that, I was kind of like, oh my God, I was supposed to get mine already. And so I had made a doctor's appointment on my own and I went to the doctor and they told me like, yeah, you're pregnant. And I actually texted my mom because I knew I was going to work and I wasn't going to see her. Like I told her like, yeah, I'm pregnant, like through text message. Because I just wanted it to be out there and give her the time to process it before she saw me face to face. Because honestly, I didn't know what her reaction was going to be. Like I really, truly thought she might put her hands on me.
When we finally talked about it, I don't even really remember how, because it's been like, at this point, it has been 12 years because it's February and my daughter will be 12 this year. So I don't know. She was so good though. So her initial reaction after that, like we had some good days and some bad days because I feel like she really was not like expecting that from me.
Yeah.
I never got in trouble. I didn't really hang out with many people. Like it was kind of like out of left field.
Did you guys have the sex talk? Like, is that stuff that you talked about? Yeah. Okay.
It was like, how do people refer to that? It was like taboo in our house. Like we didn't even talk about that.
If you didn't talk about it, it wouldn't happen. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause she was like, I never really knew how to talk. And then, okay, fast forward 12 years now, I'm like thinking like, I need to have that talk with my daughter now because we did not have that talk. I mean, I told Olivia about periods like since she was 9 and I thought that would like help me. But I'm like, I'm not ready to talk about this. So I understand how she felt. It is like
it's awkward to talk to your kid about that.
Especially like when you're raised that way too, like where it's like weird to talk about that stuff. And then like we have to unlearn that to teach them. It's like, it's a lot. So
yeah.
She'll be in 7th grade next year though. And I don't know if you remember, but 7th grade is when you watch The Miracle of Life.
Is it?
I could have been 8th, but I could have sworn it was 7th grade.
Everyone talks about that, but I do not remember seeing that. I do not remember seeing that.
I honestly, I feel like I can close my eyes and picture the baby being born. And it was just like, it just stuck with me forever. So
yeah, because like I didn't know my real dad growing up. So I remember my mom trying to have a conversation with me when I was like 7 or 8 and explaining to me the way sex worked to explain how I had another dad because he was never around. So it wasn't like she could point out this person, that's your dad. Like I didn't know him. So I remember like at that point her trying to explain, but I did not comprehend sex at like 7 or 8. So it didn't make sense to me until I was like 12. And then like since I was putting the pieces together, then I understood like, oh, that's what happened.
Yeah. That is the thing too. I feel like there were like things my mom would tell me, and then like suddenly, like when you learn about that, you're like, oh,
now it makes sense.
Like when she told me about periods, I remember she'd be like, you're a woman now. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, what does that mean? I'm a woman now. And it's like, oh, I get it. I'm a woman now because our eggs are working.
Yeah.
So cool. Like, and then when you think about it, you're like, oh, that's gross. Like,
I know. And I don't know about you, but I could not wait to get my period. I don't know why. I was a weirdo. Like I could not wait to enter womanhood.
I feel like it was like cool.
It was cool.
Yeah. Because my one friend, she was like 14 when she got it. And she was like embarrassed, or like not embarrassed, but like, she felt some type of way about that. And I remember being like, girl, I wish I didn't get this. I changed my mind. Like, this is not fun times. I was 11 also when I got mine. So
I'm pretty sure I was 11 too. Yeah. Not a good time. I wish I could go back.
I would have much rather had like 3 more years without it. But
yes, same.
Not a good time. But see, look at me trailing off.
You were don't know where I'm going. Your mom, like being how like she reacted to you being pregnant.
So basically we had our good moments and we had bad moments where, she obviously had like feelings about it, but she was so supportive. She took me to all my doctor's appointments. She was with me through everything. She didn't make me not one time feel like I wasn't going to have a place to live or like somebody to help, take care of the baby with me. And
that's so important, especially that we were both so young and you were really young at that time. because I hear so many stories about people not having supportive moms and like being kicked out. And I can't imagine my mom kicking me out when I was that young and pregnant. I don't know what I would have done.
Me either. Yeah. Because I mean, there were times where like we would butt heads and stuff, but ultimately, like without her support, I don't know how I would have gone through that. It was a lot. It was a lot the whole time. And then you don't realize how traumatic it actually is until you look back on it. Because I feel like I feel like I was dealing with so much prior to that. So then when that happened, it was like more trauma. And then watching all of your friends like act their age and be young
and go on without you. Yeah.
It was just so many events that like I didn't realize how they were really shaping me until like you get to a point where you're like, I need to just like try to figure things out, because you're like going down a path and you're just like, it's like almost like you can't get back to yourself. So then, but my mom was with me through all of it. And without that, I don't know how I would have done it.
So she was like your number one support system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, like we definitely butted. It wasn't like rainbows and butterflies all the time. But I mean, like, can't blame her. I don't like at the time I'd be like, why are you acting like this? It happened. So what? Not like that, but like, yeah, in a sense to where it was like, let's like calm down a little bit, because like sometimes we would butt heads so bad. I'd be like, I don't know what I'm going to do. But at no point did I ever have to worry about not having her support, not having somewhere to stay. She's been watching Olivia since I had her. Like she still helps me with both of my kids.
That's
like,
awesome.
That has never changed. So, but it was a lot. And it's so funny because I know we both took this class, but I took that class, parent childhood development.
Yes, me too.
Right? When I took it, I think the first marking period or the second marking period. And then I was pregnant like at the end of the year. So I was like, thanks for teaching me all that, Mrs. Walsh.
Yeah, so it was the opposite for me. I had to go back for senior year after I had John, but because I had stayed back as a freshman, it was my 5th year. And they said, okay, we understand you have a kid. We're not going to make you stay until the regular like senior dismissal time. So I only had to do 4 classes.
Wow.
Yeah, they like really hooked me up that last year because they were like, you know, you have a kid, you want to go home. So I actually got out at 11:45. I took like an English class, gym, like the required ones. And then I had parent-child development. And of course, I was like the star of the class because everybody wanted to ask me like, oh, well, you have a baby. How was this? And how was that? And like, everybody just wanted to know like the scoop. But it was awesome. Like they helped me out that last year. I was grateful to be able to have like a short day and be able to go home to my kid.
I know that is so important. They helped me too, but in a different way. I started to show, and I would wear, I don't know if anybody would remember, but I would wear like 2 hoodies and a jacket.
You're lying.
I swear. And it was February, March, I was doing this, and then it was like April, and then we had spring break, and I was still doing after that. People are like, why are you wearing like hoodies? And like, why are you wearing so much?
Weren't you sweating?
Yeah. This one girl was like, she's probably pregnant. And I was like, no, I'm not.
Why were you hiding it?
Oh, I was not ready to, no part of me wanted to tell anybody at school. Like no part of me was ready to have that attention.
Were you like ashamed? Like you didn't want to
answer questions? I definitely felt a lot of shame. I felt a lot of like just fear of like people's opinions, people saying things, just, you know, like high school is hard. And it was never like really that easy for me. And I was just not ready I wasn't ready for the label. I wasn't ready for the questions. I wasn't ready for the looks. Like I wasn't ready for any of it. And like, yeah, it was too much. So I was trying to hide it for as long as I could. And then we had spring break and I was like, I can't wear hoodies and stuff anymore. Like it's getting warm out. And then it was the night before we were supposed to go back. I was crying like hysterically to my mom, telling her, I was like, I can't do it. Like I cannot go back. Honestly, I feel like a little emotional talking about it.
I can hear it in your voice. Oh, that was such a hard time, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was. And it's like, I honestly don't even talk about that stuff that much. Like I haven't really talked about that journey a lot, like at all. So it's like weird talking about it. Not
Yeah.
weird, but like it's bringing it all back. But I was really emotional, and my mom called the school the next day and she's like, look, my kid's pregnant. She can't come back. And then also I kind of had like a tough pregnancy with Olivia. I was like high risk. I was in the hospital a lot. And then the school sent home instructors. It was just teachers, I guess, that taught extra in their spare time. And I didn't have to go back to school junior year. So I stopped going right after spring break. So it was what? April, May, June. I didn't have to go. I'm sorry. I'm getting like super hot.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
I had to make more coffee before because I was getting really tired.
Same.
But anyway, so yeah. So after spring break, didn't go back, had home instructors, did that whole process. And then I had Olivia in July. And then all of that shame and worry and fear I felt like disappeared once I saw her. Plus, when I had Olivia, she wasn't breathing when she was born.
Oh.
So like, not only was I so thankful that she was fine and healthy, it was just like, when you're looking at your child, like nothing seems to matter anymore. And it's just like, I just want to be with you. I just want to take care of you. I like all of that stuff. I don't care. So I went back to school senior year and I was just like ready to go. Didn't care. Had pictures of her. I was ready for the questions then because I'm like, she's here. That's it.
She's already here. You were in your motherhood and you were comfortable at that point in it. Yeah.
But I don't know if
awesome.
you remember when we talked about this a while ago and I was telling you that people were texting me.
Yes. Uh-huh.
It was so weird. Like people that I would talk to, but like not talk to like on that kind of basis were like telling me like to have an abortion and like not to do it. This one girl was telling me that like God will forgive me. And I remember being like, okay.
Where do people find the place to come and even like say that to you?
It was so bizarre to me because I'm like, why are you even saying like, what does like me having a baby have to do with you? Like,
yeah.
Like,
and people that you weren't even close with, like what gave you that opinion?
It was so weird because it was like so unexpected. I'm like, how'd you get my number? I think I blocked people. Like I deleted my Facebook. Like I wasn't ready for all that. It was a lot.
So when you went back to school, what were people's like initial reaction? Like at this point, was social media big? Like did people know already?
Oh yeah. Once I had her, I remember, oh my God, this is really going to date us. But I had the Verizon. It was like the Envy. It was like a red phone and it like folded and it had the keyboard when you would unfold it.
I remember.
So I remember, and then to post on Facebook, you would have to text Facebook, like pictures. So I texted a picture of my daughter when she was born and I like posted on my feed. So after that, I'm pretty sure everybody that followed me knew. And then anybody told, but I did have some friends that were like really supportive and nice throughout.
Are you still friends with those friends?
I'm friends with one friend that I was from high school.
It's funny because sorry to cut you off, but
no, you're fine. Go ahead.
I was just thinking about this the other day. Like I had at least like 10 girlfriends at my baby shower and I'm not friends with any of them anymore. Like not on that personal level, but like we'll have each other on social media, but I don't talk to any of those girls anymore.
Wow, that's crazy.
None.
That's insane. Yeah, one person, I remember she was like one of the first people I told. And then she visited me when I was on my leave. She's like one of the first people to meet the baby and we're still friends. And it's like cute because it's like, I have these pictures with her and Olivia when they were small and like, she's big. She was at her wedding. They have a cute picture together. So yeah,
that's like, sweet.
Yeah. So I'm thankful for the people but also I did lose a lot of friends.
People just didn't understand it.
Yeah, no. Especially I had like guy friends all gone immediately. That was like the first thing to go. The guys were like, ew, what? Like, I don't know how to deal with that.
Yeah, like, ew, you have a baby, bye.
And then like, some of my friends, but then also it's probably like, I don't know, how do you tell your parents like, oh yeah, my friend has a baby and you're in high school? It's like,
yeah, that's how
don't hang out with her.
Yeah, that's how I felt too. Cause like I said, those girlfriends came to my baby shower and because I stayed back, they were all technically like a year and a half younger than me. Cause not only did I stay back, but I'm older than most people that were in my grade. So these girls are like 16 years old. I can't imagine what they told their parents. Like, oh yeah, I'm going to my friend's baby shower today. Can you drop me off? Like, I'd be like, what kind of friend?
Yeah, like, wait, what?
I was such a fighter though, that when I got pregnant, like I never felt like ashamed or like I needed to hide it, because I was kind of like, say what you want and I'll beat you up, pregnant and all. Like that was the type of vibe that I had. Like I didn't, you know.
I know. I wish I did feel like that, because like part of me, like I missed junior prom. I missed a big chunk of life because I was so afraid of like, I was just afraid of what people were gonna do and say. And then I was afraid of looking pregnant in school. Like I had all this fear, and I got like right after that, I blew up. Like you couldn't tell I was pregnant. Well, I guess you could, because I was like layering up, but like right after that was like when my stomach was like the big basketball. And you definitely couldn't hide it at that point. It was weird though, because when I went back senior year, a lot of teachers had just had babies. So I lost. That's what I was
just gonna ask you. Like, what were the teachers' reactions?
They were all nice. I mean, I feel like there was a guy teacher that was kind of like guys don't know how to act with things.
Yeah,
like,
they don't.
Really don't. It's like, oh, this kid is a kid. Ew. But that's the vibe that I felt. But I remember, my teachers were really nice. They're really accommodating. I was lucky enough to be a half day senior, but they didn't hook me up like they hooked you up. I had I forget what it was. It was like 12 something right before 1.
Girl, it was also my 5th year in high school. They probably just wanted to get rid of me.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I feel like they did help me get that to be a half day. They're like, this is what you have to do. This is what you have to do. I was just like, okay.
Yeah.
So I was a half day senior, but also my guidance counselor, I had all these plans before I got pregnant. Like I wanted to go to Fairleigh Dickinson and study education. They had a 5-year program, and 1 year you study abroad. Like I had my heart set on this.
Wow.
And then I remember coming back to school talking to my guidance counselor about college, and she was kind of like, you should just go to Middlesex. Like you should just go here. And I was like,
wow,
very supportive.
Yeah.
And then
supportive.
I had like a meltdown senior year because it was a lot. First of all, I had to walk to school.
Oh my God.
From where we live. Yeah.
I could not imagine that.
So walking to school
every
day. No, they cut buses off at like 2 point something miles, and like we just missed it.
Oh my God.
It was so stupid. So I had to walk. I was walking to school every day, and then I was walking home every day, and it just felt like so long to be without your new baby. And it's just like, then you go home, you have homework, and then you have to get to bed. And then, so I got overwhelmed, and I really did want to drop out. And then you should have seen how supportive my guidance counselor was. I was like, when I asked you about college, you were kind of like leading me down a path that like I wasn't really like trying to go down. Like I wanted to see if there was any way that I could still like do the college thing and like do it the way I had planned. But then like she gave me all these brochures about dropping out, and I was like, okay. Like I feel like when you start talking about something like that, you kind of hope they talk you out of it.
Yeah, what an awful guidance counselor.
And then she was like, yeah, no, this is what you can do, and this, and this. And I was like, okay. I was like, yeah, then maybe I really should think about this. And then I thought about it for a while, and I didn't end up doing it.
Yeah, no. The one thing that my mom said when we found out that I was pregnant was, you're going to finish high school. You're not going to get a GED. You're going to get your diploma, and that's going to be it. And if we need to figure out childcare, then we'll figure that out. Like that, my mom was adamant about that. You finish high school.
Yeah. And I'm glad I did. And it was, I think you had a similar moment, because I remember seeing your picture on Facebook, but after I graduated and we're walking back in our cap and gown, my mom hands me Olivia. So I'm carrying her out in my cap and gown. It was just like such a nice moment. It was just like, I did it.
I have a picture of me holding John in my gown, and he has the cap on and he's holding it. And it's like crazy that like my kid was I feel like parents, sometimes we don't think about it, but like we're literally growing up with our children.
Yeah.
Especially
when you have them young. Yeah. Especially because it's like you go through so many things, and then like when you look back, you're like, wow, we kind of went through that together. Like all those moments, all those hard times, all those times you didn't think like things were ever going to be good again. And you do that all with your child. And it's like, it's just, I don't know, it's so special.
Yeah,
And
it
it's
is.
like it's really turning a bad situation into like, that's life, you know. Sometimes it's like, that's obviously like far from ideal like to happen, but like,
Mhm.
I don't know, like we're grown now and our children are healthy and they're taken care of, and you know, we haven't missed anything.
Yeah. And I don't know about you. Like I know that you weren't like you kind of felt like shameful at the beginning of your
Mm-hmm.
pregnancy
Absolutely, yeah.
with Olivia, but I feel like I had those feelings too. I'm young, you know, I'm having a baby, I'm not married, whatever. Like I had those feelings too, but now I'm so empowered by the fact that I went through that. I feel like having Jonathan in high school and being a teen mom has like so powerfully impacted like the way that I am as a
Yeah.
person. I
Yeah, I
know I'm
mean,
strong. I feel like I could literally get through anything.
yeah, absolutely. Like I don't think like there's anything in life that like I won't be able to overcome at this point, because it's
Yeah.
like when you it takes a while to get there, or it took me a while to get there.
Hmm.
But then when you look back and you see all that you've done and you're like, okay, like I could honestly probably handle anything that's thrown my way at this point. That way, when like bad things happen now, or not bad things, but you know, when things, unplanned things or like
Yeah.
setbacks in any way, I'm like, well, you know, it sucks, but it's fine. Like, what are you going to do? Like, it's just life. You got to keep it moving.
Yeah.
And
We're
that's what
gonna
I
work
finally
through it.
learned, because when you're going through it, it doesn't really feel, it didn't feel that way when I was going through it. When I got through it is finally when I could like hold on to that. And that's where I'm
Hmm.
at too now. But it took me a long time to get there. It did. Because I felt a lot of things, but I think also it's like, I don't know. I grew up like very insecure, self-conscious, easily shamed. So all of that, it took a lot to overcome. But I don't know, now, isn't it like I still am like the youngest parent most of the time.
Oh
And
yeah,
that
for
sometimes is
sure.
like so intimidating.
Yeah, same.
I'll be like, oh my God, I took Olivia to her middle school orientation this year, and it was like,
They were like, "Are you the big sister?"
yeah. And it's just, there are situations like that too. We went to go get our nails done, and this guy was pressing us like, is that your sister? I was like, no, this is my daughter. And then he asked Olivia, is that your sister? And then she's like, that's my mom. It's just like, please stop acting like this. It's really awkward.
Yeah, that is so awkward. And the fact that people even do that, like that's so
Yeah.
weird. You're weird for that.
Yeah, he definitely, it was so bizarre. But yeah, all of those things. But even now I have, because I know you have EJ, he's your youngest.
Yeah.
But sometimes I still feel like I'm a young mom, like even with my youngest. And it's like, I'm not really a young mom anymore, but like,
No, but like no, we are though. We are young. Even with EJ, like he's not even 3 yet, but so we just switched daycare, so I haven't really gotten a vibe of like the new moms and dads at this school. But the last one, like I would see them drop their kids off and they were like well into their 30s. I'm not even 30 yet. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
that's
Like
true.
I'm
That is
definitely
true.
still on the younger side of the moms.
That's
And
very true.
at my older kids' school, it's over because they're like, you know.
Yep. Oh yeah. Did you have any friends that had children like at any point, like when you were like with Jonathan? Or
Okay,
you call
so
him John, right?
Jonathan, yeah, whatever. So a funny story, actually, when I found out that I was pregnant with him, I was in the PACE class. Do you remember that?
A little bit.
It was
No.
like it was like the class for the bad kids where they kind of kept us
Oh,
confined
yes,
in
yes,
one
yes,
room
yes.
and the
I
teachers would
remember.
come in and out. So I was in that class and we actually had a therapist because we were like, you know, the troubled kids. There was like a therapist that came in and she worked with us like in the morning sometimes, whatever. So I actually told her first that I was pregnant. And right after I found out I was pregnant, there was a girl who was in my class that just found out she was pregnant also. So me and her kind of bonded over that. And then there was another girl that was younger than me, but she was pregnant at the same time. So I feel like I had those other 2 girls that to kind of like cling on to at that time because we were all in a similar like situation. And then also I met somebody that I got really close with when I was right before I got pregnant with John, who had a baby like right around the same time as me.
Oh my God. I think we had the same friend at one point, because I remember when I came back to high school, I was like kind of, which sounds psychotic, but I was like disappointed that nobody had kids because I felt so alone. Because like you know, there's only so much you could talk about with people that don't have kids, to the point where they're just like, okay, let's talk about something else. And just like, I literally don't want to talk about anything else. Like all I did was like stare at pictures of my daughter all day. And then that's all I would want to talk about. And then I see this girl and she's pregnant. I was like, yes, I'm going to be her friend. And like, I walked up to her and I was like, I just had a baby. I was friends with her, and that kind of gave me somebody to like lean on. But we were friends, but we never like hung out consistently and stuff. So then there was still that feeling of like not having anybody to relate to in that way. Like I said, I've always had the support of my mom, and she's always like, she's been like the one mom friend, but then at the same time it's your mom. So
yeah.
And then like, not to knock any of my friends or anything, like I always was like, you know, it's always good to have friends of any kind, but it was just something isolating about not having a single mom friend to turn to for all of those years. And now my friends are starting to have kids.
I know.
And she's like, thanks for joining me. I've been waiting.
Yeah, it's been all these years. Like I've been waiting for y'all to catch up. That's how I felt too. And it's like when you're a teenager and you're trying to relate to people, like my kid is my whole world, and people are trying to be supportive and like, oh yeah, the baby's so cute. But then as soon as the kid starts crying or they're annoying, it's kind of like, and
they want to go out and they still want to do things. And then you're trying to make it so it's like, I can still do that. Yeah, I just need to go do this, and I just need to do this, and then I can do that. And it's just like, you really can't. I mean, like, it's like back then, like, I feel like there was like a point where I was trying to still be young. Like when I was like 18, like I had no problem the whole first year. Then it was when we graduated, watching everyone, it was like a different kind. Like when you graduate into being a young adult, it's like seeing everybody have that freedom and that fun. And then I just remember I was like, I just want to be part of that. And I never thought I would want that, because I was never like the type of person that like, I didn't go to parties in high school. I didn't do much in high school at all. Like I really kept to myself. I had a few friends, but then there was something about that for a while that I felt like I was missing. And it was it. And then I just remember by the time Olivia was 2, I was like full blown depressed. Like I would sleep all day, sleep all night. I'd be like on the couch. But I also feel like I had the luxury of being depressed to that point, because like I was living with my mom and she like didn't force me to work or anything.
Yeah. That's
but
good.
I flunked out of college like for 2 semesters because I just like, and then the depression, it like led to anxiety, and it wasn't depression. It was like self-diagnosed depression. But like when I look back, I had like insomnia, but then there was times where I was sleeping all day. It was just like, I was going through all these things.
You were sad.
Yeah.
Even if it wasn't depression. Yeah, no, I get it.
And then like again, like I got through it, and then I was kind of like, oh, that wasn't really healthy that I felt that way and I was acting that way.
Yeah.
But I remember when I finally did start working and I was like out in the world for like the first time, because I worked at like pizzerias like on and off through high school, and then a little bit when I had Olivia, like a real job. I got a real job, and that's like kind of when I started to I don't know, I guess just become part of the world and start to see things differently. And then I was working, and then I missed my child again all the time, and I was like, this is an awful cycle.
It's like, it sucks. And like the mom guilt sucks so much. Like when I was pregnant with John, I had bought Jared and I tickets to a Mac Miller concert, like totally not thinking about the future. And like, I'm going to have a whole ass child when this concert is happening.
Oh, wow.
So I bought the tickets, and I think John was like 8 or 9 weeks old, like little, but my mom was like, no, like you guys go, like I'll watch him, whatever, like you guys have your night, whatever. So we went. My child smiled for the first time that night, and my mom caught it on camera. And let me tell you, I went to the back of that concert stadium, whatever, and I cried until we left. Jared was down there not giving a shit. Like, you know,
Guys are different. They'll be like, oh, I'll see the next one. But it's like
he did not care.
One?
Yes. Yeah. And my mom, and she got
thing.
A picture of it, and I just sat in the back crying. It was awful.
Yeah.
And I just hated that. Like because I wanted so badly to have that freedom and go do something for me. But then as soon as I did, I missed something important, and I hated myself for it.
Exactly. It's like, it's such a confusing time, because you really are watching all of like these people your age do these things. And it's just like, while you want to do it, and yeah, like sometimes you can do things, like where you belong is really like with your child, taking care of your child, like that freedom. It's just different, like, and especially like now after all this time, it's kind of like, oh, well, who am I as a person? And it's just like, at this point, like, I don't know. And I just don't even have the energy to figure it out. It's like, I know it's not like, and I always tell people, it's like, I don't recommend this to anybody, but like for me, I don't even know if I care about like figuring that stuff out because of the guilt. Like that mom guilt has been with me for going on 12 years now. So it's like,
well, that is kind of like the reason that I even wanted to start the podcast, because I struggled so much with like identity and feeling like I had to fit in these like stereotypes of like what a mom was. And because I was young, it was always the, oh, well, moms don't act like that. Moms don't do that. And I struggled with that so much that like my kids love the hell out of me. So I am a good mom, regardless of whatever stereotype you think I should fit into. And I struggle with that. But now I feel, like I said, like I feel like empowered by it, because I know that I'm a good mom, regardless of what that standard looks like to somebody else.
Exactly. And that's sometimes I have like, not a dark, but like I have a certain sense of humor with my oldest daughter where like I pick on her and I mess with her. But then like, I don't ever feel bad because it's like, I have taken care of you since you were a baby. Like I've always been there for you. Like I feel like I can like joke around with like things with her, and she gets like, it's like kind of like dad humor, you know what I mean? Like the dad joke humor type of thing. And like, I feel like if somebody else heard it, they'd be like, why are you talking to your, like, why would you joke around with your kid like that? It's just like, she gets it. And like, I don't feel like I have to like be upset about certain things, because it's like, I take care of you every day. Like, I'm not doing anything actually wrong. I'm just like, I don't know. She's so sarcastic too.
And that's you guys' thing. Like, that's your bond. It's not for anybody else to understand.
And we grew up together. Like, we really did. Like, when you look back, it's just like, this is a person that has known me since I was 16 years old. And here she is.
It's your longest friend, probably. Like, one of them.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
Yeah. And that's like that unconditional love. And it's a lot. Like, motherhood is a lot.
Yeah, it is. A lot of emotions.
And it's crazy to like to deal with that stuff young and to like be on the other side of it at this point.
Yep.
Because it's like for so long too, you're saying, oh, I'm a teen mom. It's just like, oh, now I'm a grown mom.
I know. Now I'm grown.
And that's the thing too. Like when you go to school and you go to these conferences and things, it's kind of like intimidating sometimes, because you're just like people, when I went to the orientation and when I just did like the conferences, they're like, oh, and you are, I'm like, her mom.
Oh my God. Like, they don't know how to take you.
Yeah. It's like, oh, okay. Just wanted to make sure. It's just like, yeah, no, I'm just a friend. Like,
yeah, no, just a friend.
No. Yeah. It's crazy.
I feel like I've always clashed with people at my kids' school because I feel like they are a little bit judgy because they know that I'm young. And it's like, it's intimidating and awkward, and
it does make you feel like a certain type of way. But then, you know, what's crazy to me too, is that when you're that person, like you're pregnant and you're young, like you're going to get shamed if you keep your baby, if you have an abortion, if you give your baby up for adoption. There's like no right thing to do to people. And then their thing is basically like, well, you shouldn't have got yourself there. It's just like, it happens. And I'm doing the best I can for me and my child. And it's just like, it's never enough for people. And that's another thing. When I had her at the hospital, they were so mean to me.
No
I went
way.
to a Catholic hospital. I went to St. Peter's.
Okay. Because
they have the best NICU unit, and I had high risk pregnancy. So I wanted to make sure she was okay if anything were to happen. So that's why I picked there. They were so mean to me. And they were like, the one lady, I had to get a steroid shot in my butt once because they thought I was going to go into labor, and they were worried about her lungs not being developed enough. So they gave me the steroid shot, and the nurse said something to me like, that's what you get, because it was painful. And I remember being like, okay, but then like, you know, it like sits with you and then it hurts you and you're just like, why would you say that to me? Like I'm doing the best I can right now. It's like, is it ideal? No. And what gets me too about Catholic people, they're like against abortion. So it's like, what would you have me do in this situation?
Yeah, what would you have preferred me to do here?
Like, that's what I don't get. And like stuff like that will always bother me.
When I had my daughter, I had to get a, what's it called? Like it wasn't an epidural, but because I had a C-section with her, so it was like a blocker something, okay. But it goes in the same spot.
Oh wait, is it that spinal tap thing?
Spinal tap. Yeah. Okay. So I had that, and that's like the scariest part of having babies for me. Yeah, because for sure. Like, you know, the thought of being paralyzed, if it goes wrong, like it's terrifying. So not only am I 20 years old, because this is my second child, I had her at 20, but I'm leaning over and he's like taking forever and like I'm shaking, I'm nervous. So he starts like poking me. Not only does he poke me 6 times, getting it in the wrong spot every single time, but he's like gripping me hard, making me like kind of uncomfortable. And I start shaking because I'm so nervous. He's like, you need to stop moving or I can't get this in the right spot. Like, excuse me, but you didn't get it in the right spot the other times that you tried it. And now I'm terrified and I'm shaking because of you. The nurse manager made him come apologize to me because I could not believe the way that he spoke to me. Even the nurse was like, you have no right to talk to her like that. Like, they had my back.
That's crazy. I know there was one nurse. And it was so embarrassing because like I had to go to the hospital a lot when I was pregnant with Olivia. And then one time they were like shipping me back and forth between the regular emergency room and the pediatric emergency room. So like, and they kind of made it sound like, well, we don't know where to put her. And I was just like, oh, this is so awkward. Like it was just so many uncomfortable situations. Yeah. And you're just like, I wish you guys would like keep some of the stuff to yourself, because it's like, I feel like whatever your morals or whatever you think
your judgment, it's like the judgment
it shouldn't affect me. Like I shouldn't have to be here sitting with this stuff. But then the one nurse in the pediatric unit, she was so sweet, and she was telling me that like I had my son when I was your age, and then like she like talked to me, and it was just like such a nice moment, and I really needed it because it was like you're going through so much and they're making it like harder on you. And it's just like, you don't even know me. Like, why make things harder on somebody you don't even know? Yeah. And it's just like, you're supposed to be unbiased working like in healthcare. Like I could be, speaking of which, when then Olivia was in the NICU unit and they had freaking inmate there with guards. You're lying. Holding her baby. Yeah. I was like, this is crazy. But then I was like, it's the NICU unit. And it's probably because of the NICU. And then it was in New Brunswick. So I was like, damn, this is crazy. But I remember that lady was there one day. So I think that's wild. May to July, I was like in the hospital all the time. And then I think she was there like one of the first times I was there. Because I remember like looking out the window and watching them bring her in. And then she was in the NICU unit still in July with her baby.
Oh my God.
But yeah. So, but again, like even like you're not even supposed to judge, you know what I mean? Like you're not supposed to judge anybody when you're in healthcare. You're supposed to take care of everybody the same.
Yeah, agreed.
But because they're a Catholic hospital, they felt like but I remember they just always had backhanded comments towards me and stuff. But then like they didn't ask me to take newborn pictures. They didn't teach me how to breastfeed. They didn't ask lying. Me, I swear. They kept me so long without seeing her. And I felt like everything, especially looking back, I felt like everything was done on purpose. Like I felt like it was just jabs at me. And it's just like, for what?
I am so sorry that you had to deal with that. That's terrible.
Yeah. And it's funny too, because like at the time you just like get through it. And then when you look back, you're like, that's like,
that was so mean. Yeah.
Yeah. And all of these like little moments and like all these things that you're going through, I feel like just all add to like the trauma and the things that you feel and like the things that like the depression, the anxiety, you know what I mean? Like all of this stuff happened. And then like all the other things that are happening that you deal with. And it's just, I feel like looking back, you realize it's like all of that stuff is like why I feel the way I do. Like not just like one thing that happened. It was just like all of these things that had happened
collectively. Yeah. Yeah. I think I had told you the one time, but when I was in high school, there was a math teacher that I had, and she had been out of school. Like she took a couple weeks off because I think she had a miscarriage is what I like gathered.
Yeah, I do remember you telling me this.
And I came back to school and I was like, I overheard a conversation she was having with another teacher saying that like, you know, why can't I have a baby? But like she's in high school. And I already felt like shit that I put myself in this situation, but like that made me feel even more like shit. And I'm sure she didn't intend on me hearing her, but like, damn, like I'm sorry for you, but I'm like, I'm sorry for
it
me
is
too.
sad. Yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah. I mean, it doesn't, I don't know. Like that stuff doesn't take away from your experience. Like that doesn't, you having a baby doesn't take away from like, you know what I mean? Like I don't know.
Like, sorry that happened to you, but
Yeah.
like,
That has nothing to do with you.
it
And
doesn't have
like
anything to
we
do with me.
all, we all have different things that we go through. And I mean, honestly, it wasn't the most ideal situation for us either. So
Yeah.
friend Chelsea had her daughter in her early 20s, and she always says like she wasn't a teenager, but it also feels like you were very young when you had your child. Like I think she said she had just turned 21 when she got pregnant.
Yeah, my mom had me at 20, turned 21 while she was pregnant, and she was definitely like young mom.
It's still hard, yeah. And then that's the thing too. Like when I was pregnant young, I was just like, oh, it would have been so much easier if I was 18, if I was 19, if I was 20. But it's like, I think it's all hard, like no matter what.
For sure.
But she has been a single mom to her daughter for the past 8 years. So her daughter's whole life. Well, her daughter turns 8, I think, in June. So, but basically the past 8 years, it's just been her and her daughter. And, when I feel like when you're a single parent, it's a lot.
It's a lot.
And then she has help, but like not the same, like not, how my help is like kind of like drop of a hat. Like if I really need something, my mom will be there. So I don't know if, but she's been through a lot with her daughter, and she's been on this journey with her daughter. And her About the Book says, when a single mom feels overwhelmed and alone in her struggle, she almost loses hope when her young daughter swoops in to save her, using a power so strong it's been said it can conquer anything. But how could a child possibly help their parent? What kind of power is that strong? There's something about I love you is a beautiful expression of love and appreciation that will remind you to hold tight to those things that bring light into your life. And her daughter is so sweet. Like she can literally light up a room. The book is so sweet. It makes me, I was just on Instagram before doing stories because I've been wanting to help her promote it because I really want to see it get out there. Kickstarter is a platform that helps people. It's like kind of like GoFundMe, but like for projects. So she's like looking for donations to help get her book into production faster.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Yeah, it's really great. And like I said, like single mom, to me, this is like a small business thing.
Yeah, of course. Do you have a link that I can post?
Yeah, I have
her awesome.
Her Kickstarter link. And the inspiration behind her book is during the first few years of being a single mom, she was really in a dark place. And then her thing too is she was raised by a single mom, and she always wanted, she didn't have a relationship with her dad growing up. And she always wanted that for her child. Like she wanted her child to have a mom and a dad. Yeah.
I can relate.
So, you go through these dark moments, and then she was going through a hard time. And then what got her out of that is when her daughter started saying, I love you on her own. And it inspired her to write this book. So that's really beautiful. And it is directed towards single parent families, but it's a book about love. So I'm pretty sure any parent that reads that will feel that connection to their child.
Yeah, for sure. And any parent that hears I love you from their kid, like that is just like as many times as I hear it, I love it every time because that's my kid. And
that's the thing too. I was making pancakes the other day. My kids love pancakes.
Yeah,
making pancakes the other day. My 4-year-old, she's eating her pancake, fine. She runs up to me while I'm cooking and she goes, "You're the best mommy ever. I love you." And it's just like, you're like, all I'm doing is making pancakes and you're
just cooking you breakfast.
Yeah, it's just the sweetest. It really does. It like melts your heart. And I'm the type of person that like I will lay in bed at night thinking about how grateful I am that my kids are healthy and happy. And when they go to sleep at night, just knowing that they're safe, like that stuff will like put me to tears because I'm just like so grateful.
Yeah, same.
And then like, I don't know, that love that like a child brings you is just, it's unconditional and it's life changing. So
yeah, it is.
this is the kind of book that like I can see myself reading them every night. I don't know if you have books that you read to EJ. Your older kids probably like, Mom, you don't have to read to me anymore. I could read to myself.
They don't even want to like give me kisses goodnight anymore. They definitely wouldn't like me reading.
My 11-year-old too. Like sometimes we don't. I'm like, damn, no kiss, no hug, okay. But and I love the books that are like kind of to the chase, but then like have a sweet message.
Yeah.
And this book is like, where we're not like going on like paragraphs each page. And you're like, okay, can you take your ass to bed now? Because it's like, I'm sick of reading this.
Right.
But it's such awesome. A sweet book.
I need my copy.
Oh my God. I ordered a few copies for the house.
Did you?
And
That's
then
awesome.
Olivia was like, oh, is one for each of us? I was like, yeah, right. One's for you guys. And I'm taking like the other ones for myself.
I'm going to need to order one. That's awesome. I need one for EJ.
What's really great about it too is that when you help somebody fund a project through Kickstarter, there's like rewards. So she has like coloring pages. There's these like plush bees you can get depending on which package you choose. There's activity idea cards and stuff. So it's like you get these sweet little like, you know, gifts in return, helping fund the project. And also she has paired up with the Heart Matters. Yeah, the Heart Matters foster family agency in California. Wow. So there's also an option if you want to help support and you like don't necessarily want a book, you can have books donated to these families.
That's so cool.
And this foundation is like incredible. Like they do a lot of great things for foster families. And they I think their biggest thing too is to help like the families come back together and things. But yeah, it's a really great program. So The Heart That Matters, and then her book.
That's awesome.
There's something about I Love You.
I totally love that. And I've told you before, but like I have I wouldn't say deeper or stronger, but I have such a different bond and connection with EJ because his dad has never been like around consistently, that it's kind of like always been me and him. Even if my other kids were at their grandmother's house or with their dad, like it was still me and EJ because, you know, but like I went through such a horrible relationship with EJ's dad, and he's so angelic and just like such a sweet, gentle human being that I feel like he was meant for me. You know what I mean? Yes. Like that was my reward for going through what I went through, is that child.
Absolutely. And that's exactly the bond and like the kind of person that I feel like my friend is raising. Her daughter is just like the sweetest, kindest, and like she can literally like light up a room. Like we went to a talk show recently, and you should like she like everyone that came in contact with her loved her. She was just so sweet, and like so my friend, she's gone through like so much, but like out of it, she has the sweetest daughter. And it's just like, I don't know, that love that can't be matched. And so it does make it seem like all of that hard stuff that you go through is worth it, especially when you have this bond with your kids.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't get how people don't. And
girl, like, that's a whole other topic.
Yeah, that's for another day. There's like so much to talk about when it comes to motherhood. That's why.
Wait, what were you gonna say?
I was like, that's why a podcast is necessary, because it's just like you can't ever say enough in like one sitting.
Definitely necessary.
You know what it is? These conversations, they bring like so many memories back while you're having them, and you're just like, oh, and then this, and oh my God, and then this happened. So
I feel like, especially at that point in our lives, there's not that it was like a bad time for me, but there's so many little things, like you said, that are like suppressed that you don't think about until you're like talking about it and stuff. But like, I don't know. I feel like we should both be proud of ourselves for how far we've come and what we've gone through.
Yeah. I love it. Like I love seeing parents, but I love seeing moms like, you know, get through these things and like still show up every day. Like just, I feel like women are so powerful and like, we don't even realize it. Like we can really overcome so many things while you shouldn't have to. It's just like the way that we come back out of it is like insane.
Agreed. There's definitely points in my life where I felt like, oh my God, I feel terrible and I hope I never feel like this again. I don't ever want to feel like this again. And, you know, you come out of that place and it's just like, it shows us how truly resilient we are.
Yeah. There was so many moments where I was just like like life is never going to be good again, or like life is never going to be this, and I'm never not going to feel like this. And it's just like you get through so much and so many bad times and so much self-doubt and shame. And like, because I feel like being a woman, you're just shamed for, you could do anything and just
for breathing.
Somebody will, yeah, people will just shame you as a mother, as a woman. That's why like I follow like some parenting groups on Facebook and stuff, but then I try to stay away from them because I'm like,
there's so much drama in those groups. I feel like
there's so many moms that are so supportive and encouraging and empowering, and then there's so many moms that are like so willing to come at your throat. It's like, are you a mom yourself? Because if you are, then like how could you do this? Like, you know how hard it is. Like at no point do I ever feel like being a mom is like this easy thing. Do I have like an easy moment? Yeah. Do I have an easy day? Probably not an easy day, but an easy moment. It's like, okay, these moments are pretty good right now.
And I'm not going to judge another mother for how she chooses to cope or deal with her motherhood or how she handles her children. Like, that's just not for me to do.
Agree. Yeah. Because like we all have different journeys and we all have different mindsets and we all have different factors. It's just like, that's why I remember like hearing people like say things like when they see kids like take off running and it's just like their kids are acting crazy. It's just like, oh, why are they letting them do that? It's just like, first of all, maybe they want them. No, okay. Maybe they want them to run away. No, I'm just kidding.
Or maybe I've had a rough day and I just don't have the energy to be screaming after my kids right now. Mind your business.
Yeah, maybe they're just letting them get their energy. Like everybody has their own way of doing things. It's so easy to look over at somebody and be like, oh, why are you doing it like that? It's just like, first of all, the only kind of mothering I've ever learned is just like winging it and figuring it out. There's like not been anything that's been like, oh, well, I was told to do this, so this is what I will follow. It's just like you take it day by day. And that's the thing too. It's just like, if you have more than one kid, your kids are all so different. Even if they have similarities, they're so different.
Yeah.
So my older daughter is calm. My younger daughter, she's like so wild, has so much energy. So my first daughter, Olivia, is like calm, collected. She's like a little bit more like shy, taken back. She's still sweet, but then Skyla is outspoken. She's rambunctious. Like she will run laps on you all day long. And then she's so outgoing. Like she talks to her bus driver, like they're friends. It's just like, you are 4. Like, how do you, like, she has no problem. Like my older daughter, she'd always be so shy, like through the whole year with her teacher. And then, so it's like, and I have this one chill child that like, we would go to the park and like, she would always be next to me and I wouldn't have to worry about her running off. And then we have my wild child that's like, if she takes off, I know I have to freaking knees to chest after her, because
it's always that second child that does not care about anything, man. It's always that second child.
They're just built different. I'm also the middle child, so I don't know.
I'm the oldest. That's why I'm such a boss.
But yeah. I would never, I don't know. I don't like all that judgment. And like, there are things that maybe you wouldn't do for your life. Don't do it for your life. Like if that doesn't apply to you, don't do it. If that bothers you, don't do it.
Yeah.
But don't look at somebody and like wonder why they're doing that. Or like, what gets me is like, it's not so much people having their own opinions, is when you voice your opinions at other people. It's just like, if you're not here helping me raise my kids, helping fund anything for them, helping with anything, your opinion honestly is like
agreed.
Nothing.
Yep. So agreed. And shaming moms for doing things that you wouldn't necessarily do, like mind your business. It's not your kid. Like,
yeah. I mean, like you follow Kale and stuff. And it's just like seeing people come for her. It's just like, do you really have nothing better to do to where you have to come to this woman and attack her for anything she does? Because ultimately at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how she's parenting. All of her kids are, they all seem like great people. They're healthy and they're happy. Like, that's the goal, keeping them alive.
I love her and I feel like she's a great mom. I feel like people can't compartmentalize and they can't see her. They see her more as like, oh, this girl who has 3 baby daddies. It's not like, look at this wonderful mother who's built an empire, just built herself a house for her kid. Like, they're not seeing her as who she is. They're seeing her as what, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like the narrative.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's so sad too, because even like watching reality TV isn't the same. Like when Teen Mom and 16 and Pregnant first came out, like you didn't realize how heavily like editing and stuff controlled what we saw. It's just like now we live in a time where it's like, these people are like trying to like egg you on and edit to sway you to like get ratings and stuff. And people still just like feed into all of this stuff, and like it dehumanizes like people like her that have children. But what gets me is like how people will just comment anything they want on her stuff. And it's just like, you really have no right. Like even if somebody puts themselves out there, you have no right to just come at somebody and talk about the way they're being a parent. It's just like, we're all different. And that's just, if your kid is taken care of and they're fine and they're healthy, I mean, honestly, it's none of your business if they're not. I mean, well, to an extent, I guess, but
if you're straight up neglecting your kid and I see that they're not eating, that's one thing. If I just don't agree with some of your decisions, like mind your business.
Exactly. Just crazy.
Moms are way too opinionated sometimes.
I hate mom shamers, especially when they're mom. It's just like, there's something wrong with you for sure.
Yeah, same. Like you're, instead of taking care of your kid, you're typing this comment. Go do something else.
Exactly. Let's like reevaluate right now. I don't get that either. The what do they call it? The keyboard bullies. She's like, why are you wasting your time? Like I want to, like if I ever write something, it's like I want to be supportive of somebody. And if I don't like what they're doing and stuff, I'm not going to continue to watch their feed, their page beyond them. It's just like, it makes no sense to me. I don't get why people are like that. It's if you don't like it, leave.
Yeah, exactly. Just
weren't invited. It's just because it's open invitation doesn't mean you have to stay.
I know. Agreed. Yep. And I've like a couple times like wanted to write my opinion about something on social media, like not necessarily bad, but maybe like controversial. And I have gone back and erased it because I'm just like, I don't feel like arguing with y'all today.
Yeah, same.
Well, thank you so much for talking with me today. I appreciate you being vulnerable and opening up about your story.
Yeah, of course. I was not expecting to get emotional. And then I was like sipping coffee and I was like, okay, I'm getting like anxious now and like thinking while we talk about this stuff, let me switch to the water. But yeah, it's nice to talk about because like I said, it was something that brought me shame so long ago. And it's nice to be able to just like talk about it as your story and not like as something to be ashamed of.
Yeah, I know. I love that. And the fact that we both like kind of went through the same thing around the same time is like wild too. And I'm glad that we have reconnected and, did this podcast episode together. We've only been talking about it for like ever, I feel.
Yeah, exactly. Because after your podcast episodes, I'm like hitting you up, be like, oh my God, I have to talk to you about this because this is crazy.
That's awesome. Well, I'm sure we'll do future episodes together. Do you want to tell anybody where they could find you on social media?
Oh yeah, you can find me at it be like that. And it's just like the underscore symbol. So it be like that _
Okay. I'll tag you the day that we post this.
Sounds good. That was
all
fun,
right.
though.